Those are sent to those property owners. Those property owners then have the opportunity to contact whoever the identified contact is on the project. And that's what IDOT then uses as it moves forward with the project. They don't have the public meeting or public hearing on the intersection design for it, because the design is gonna more than likely meet all the applicable standards that are in place at the time. After they send out that letter, then they negotiate with the property owners. All the property has been secured and bought for this project based on the design that is out there. And that is also what was put in the letting package for the contractors to bid on. So that contractor bids on the project as it is shown there. Can that design change now? I don't know. That would have to be a question that would have to be directed to IDOT if they would change that design.
Did we hear anything? I certainly didn't hear from constituents about their unwillingness to sell the property to IDOT.
The DOT was not made aware of that, and usually that's negotiations between the body IDOT and the state. They're not going to usually share that type of information with them.
No, I meant from the citizens themselves. I would assume that if they didn't like the idea and didn't want that, they would come to us and complain about it.
We were not made aware. I can't answer to whether or not other county board members were made aware.
So what you're saying is there is a possibility that the design could change if there's.
I don't know that. We'd have to direct that question to IDOT.
Thank you. Ms. Delgado?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate having the opportunity to comment on this, because it was brought up during public comment, calling the transportation committee members out on how they voted, as they should be called out sometimes on that. So, as we all know, transportation projects don't happen overnight. They're years in the making, and within that time, we've had different people sit on the committee, and different projects come and go, some with high emotions, such as the Fleming Road. So, that makes the process alone just unique to perhaps some of the other processes. As Joe mentioned, this first came before us in 2010, and honestly, as a transportation committee member, at the last transportation meeting, I didn't remember. So I had some questions to ask, and I truthfully feel that all my questions were answered. I asked, first and foremost, if we, during this intergovernmental agreement, were given IDOT's information as far as the intersection design. I was told that we don't typically get that information, however, they could request it and bring it to the next meeting. I was encouraged by that, not because I'm not in favor of the intersection, but because then I'd have the information in my hands so that I can intelligently have a discussion with the constituents. My other question was if information had been given to the individuals who raised concern, if there was an IDOT contact person that they could talk to, and I was told that that information was given to them. So they had concerns or had questions of the IDOT portion of this project, which truly, is the lighted intersection, which was the concern that was brought up, what justified this light. Then they could contact that person. And I know that it seems often like, we're saying, well, hey, it's IDOT and we're doing hands off, but I'm not comfortable speaking on behalf of IDOT. They make their decisions, and we make ours. What I am comfortable speaking on is our portion, which we did give Joe direction on how we wanted to do our portion, if we wanted to do some improvements and widen that part of Fleming Road. Until this last transportation meeting, I honestly did not hear a thing about this. So again, there's high emotions already because of the Fleming Road project and the need for the light. I can't say that I travel on it as much as any other individuals do. I see it. I've gone on it a few times. I live in a much worse area, and they're both state roads, so I'm out a lot. But I'm in favor of this. The question was asked at committee level by Mr. Provenzano about delaying this so that we could get more information, and I voted against that because I am in favor of it, and I know that we're going to get the information to do so. However, if it is the will of this board to direct Mr. Karpolsky back to ask IDOT about changing design, I guess I'm really concerned about where I would stand with that. This started, so long ago, and I think that we've been able to provide information to answer some of that, and again, years in the progress to halt it at the last minute really isn't fair to anyone. But I'd definitely be open to hearing what my fellow board members have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hammerand, please.
Joe, thanks for coming to answer our questions today. And my first would be, if we had an imaginary intersection of 120 and Kapolsky, and we decided that we wanted to have a traffic signal on that light, on that intersection, what would be the steps in contacting IDOT and talking to them?
You could request a traffic warrant analysis that be done at that intersection to see if warrants are met for a traffic signal. Because warrants are met, doesn't mean you're gonna get an improvement. IDOT has an extensive list of warranted locations throughout McHenry County and the rest of the Collar counties for projects that I'm sure that need warrants. And that has to be evaluated by IDOT staff and the powers to be on those projects that they believe that should be moved forward.
Did at some time, maybe even before your time, did McHenry County warrant this intersection for improvement?
I have no idea about that.
Wouldn't that be in the file of this intersection's improvement?
There's nothing that we have historically on this that I can recall off the top of my head.
Okay, so the state can come along and say that the intersection of Kapolsky and 120 needs a stoplight?
Illinois 120, the way it works with jurisdictions, Illinois 120 is underneath the jurisdiction of the Illinois Department of Transportation. They have control over the intersection. So if they warranted it, they move it forward. It is their road underneath their control.
Then I follow that. I just, why do they feel that they can tell us that we owe them a fee for them deciding to improve their life?
I can't answer that for what there is. That is what their policy is.
But that happens every time.
Yes, it does.
So is to your knowledge, they take offense when you don't pay them?
I might be able to answer that a little bit, John. We're dealing with the same type of situation right now at the college, and it's moving a traffic light to a different location. And we were somewhat appalled at the fact that the college would have to pay some of those fees. And we went through the whole litany of, well, really why the lights are there. And I said, this is the rules that the state of Illinois has based on legislation. So, I mean, if we want to change this, it's probably at the legislative level and not at anything else that we can do. And
that level would be the state level and at the county level.
And in fact, in the MCC case, they're going to have to give up some land, so that land swap will take care of part of the cost of what they're going to have to do. But there's still an innocent party that's going to have to come up with money for the intersection. It's just policy by the state of Illinois.
Well, this was my thinking, but I had some constituents out there that didn't seem to understand when I first came into that. And I think that going through this policy should help them understand what's happening here.